Cool. Awesome. Awesome. All right. As you all know, currently we're going through tough times, not only in art, but in the world in general, with the wars going on, with the economy going down, with AI rising. It's a tough time that we're going through. We're all going through that together. And I'm sure, as you all know, people who are aspiring to get into the industry and people who are already in the industry, you know how tough this industry is. It's never forgiving. The industry itself is not easy. So imagine everything else going around. It can truly get overwhelming for artists and for anybody who wants to break in. So this is why I chose this title, and I hopefully can take you through ways that we can navigate it and ways to think about it. Before that, I want to take you through a small journey, but this journey, I don't want it to be, and talk to you about how it all started. It all started, this journey of mine started when I was 2 years old. And my mom found, she found the talent in me at a very early age. She said, I used to draw for you, train, and I show you how to draw it. And then when you draw it much, much better than me. And I started making it more difficult for you. And I saw that you also do it better than me. Here, my mom tells me, I knew that you had a talent for art. And she nurtured me. So everything you're going to see later on comes from this early seed, from my mother and her nurturing. When I grew a bit older, similar to all of you, I'm sure you had inspiration. Us artists, we love, we get inspired from a lot of things. We have a wild imagination. I was falling in love with The Lion King, with Sonic, with Tarzan, with some games, with Pokemon. Those things were really the spark, along with me loving art, but also watching these shows kind of ignited the fire even more. And I also had a wild imagination. Whenever I got bored at class, I bring out a paper, a pen, and I immediately draw. And part of me also falling in love with art is this imagination part, where I can put the imagination into paper. I can draw my imagination. As I grow older, the ups and downs of life are very normal. The fire slowly started to fade away at some times. There were times where the fire was huge. There were times where the fire was too low and I hated art even. And you can see that the relationship between your internal and the art. And I remember when I was 14, it was one of the toughest times of my life. And I opened a show. Are you guys familiar with Spirited Away? Do you know Spirited Away? Studio Ghibli? Do you love Spirited Away? Imagine, I was at this time, I was depressed. Going through the day was really tough. Okay? And I remember when I watched this show for an hour and a half, I felt like life was great for an hour and a half. Life was super good, even though before this time, life wasn't very, very good for me back then. But while watching the TV show, life was super good. Perfect. When I grew older, I recently knew that Miyazaki, the master, he was saying that part us when we were young would fall in love with life, would think that life is worth living, delivered this emotion to me when I was 14 years old. And I just knew about it 20 years later when I was 34 years old. I knew the intention of Miyazaki, and it got to me back then. Don't let anybody tell you that art is subpar or something below. Art can change lives. It can give hope. It can get people or kids out of depression. It can keep you moving forward when nothing else does. Art is more than just a pretty picture or pretty drawing. Art is so much deeper than that. It gets to the deep, deep, deep emotions of the human being. Now I'm going to go to a more lighter kind of vibe. I want to take you to a journey. It's not a real journey. It's I want you to imagine with me that it's a real journey, okay? But it's not. I told you this is the character, the chibi character that I turned to at the beginning of the video. So I'm going to take you through a story, but this story has a purpose. One day I was at this house, and I was eating my breakfast, preparing to become a Pokemon / artist master. Okay? Why Pokemon, you will understand now. To start my journey. Okay? I went to Professor Oak lab. People who know Pokemon know what I'm talking about. For people who don't know Pokemon, I apologize. But Pokemon is one of the animes that really had a huge impact on my life. And I reached the lab for Professor Oak. He welcomed me. And now I had to choose between 3 Pokemons, 3 starters from Gen 1. Between Squirtle, Charmander, and Bulbasaur. For Squirtle, it was mostly animation. For Charmander, it was concept art. For Bulbasaur, it was illustration. And which one do you think I chose? Squirtle or Bulbasaur? Charmander. Ahmed says Charmander. Always Charmander. Devious. Charmander. Alejandro. Nice. All 3. Bulbasaur. Okay. Nice. Charmander. All of them. Okay. I chose Charmander. Okay, as a main. But I love all of them. That's true. So you're all correct. But I chose Charmander as the beginning. And Professor Oak told me, let me tell you something about concept art. Concept art is not easy. There are too many things. You need to be able to draw characters, clothing of characters. You need to research well. You need to draw environments. You need to draw props, weapons, elixirs. You need to be able to create universes. So concept art, are you sure you want to choose concept art? Because concept art is not easy. I told him, yeah, that's my path. That's what I want to choose. He told me, all right, I need you to go to the portal of potential. There's someone I need you to meet over there. I said, okay, awesome. Portal. So I went back home. The next day, I woke up, and you can see I took my Pokemon Charmander and said, Yalla, let's go to the portal of potential. Crazy name, huh? And we had a map, and we found it. We found the portal of potential. We entered inside. It was a crazy place. It was a weird place where there were tons of pyramids. And there were pyramids in the bottom part, and pyramids upside down in the upper part. What's going on? And each pyramid has my character, but in a different kind of universe or a different path. Those are all the things I loved, and those are kind of me. I want you to imagine yourself. Those are you if you chose a different path. Yani, each pyramid is showing you, but in a different. If you chose something different, you become a totally different person. Crazy. Then I found the concept art, the one I wanted to go to. And I was wondering, like, okay, the pyramids make sense, but what about the pyramids that are upside down? Why are they black, and what's happening over there? While I was asking Charmander, someone showed up. Feng Zhu. Does anyone know Feng Zhu? How not? Oh, there, but I couldn't. But I love this guy so much. He appeared. I consider him a master. He's a level 100. You know, he's a maximum level 100. That's why are there pyramids that are upside down? What's going on? He said, "I'll tell you later. It's too early in your journey. I'll tell you later." And he wanted to tell me about the fundamentals. What do I need to know? He told me, Ahmed, and as some of you know Feng Zhu said that it's very, very important to put in the hours. You need to put in the hours. And he gave an example of 3 students. We have students 1 who puts 1 hour a day, 5 days a week, which accumulates to 240 hours per year. Student number 2 puts 5 hours a day, 7 days a week, which accumulates to 1,680 hours. Student number 3, crazy psycho 1, puts 16 hours a day, 7 days a week, which accumulates to around 5,000 hours per year. Now, I just want everybody here to be honest. Okay, just to be honest, please. Whether you're a student or a pro, which one of the 3 are you? Are you student 1 or 2 or 3? If you are closer to someone, put the honest answer. I'll appreciate it. Okay, so a lot of you, okay, so some are crazy, huh? Rishi are 3, 2, 3, Sahara, amazing. 4, oh my God. Some people never sleep, what the hell? 2, okay. Awesome. Great. Okay, thanks for the honesty. But there's a caveat, guys. It's not only about putting in the hours. He said, plus focusing on what matters. So putting on the hours on what matters the most will give you the best results. So not only the hours, you can put in the hours, but focus on the wrong thing. The return of investment wouldn't be as good. But if you put in the and he recommended focusing on line work. For Michael Jordan to be great at shooting the basket, you hone in the craft. You cannot just think or watch a tutorial your way to it. You need to put in the hours. You need to be able to sit down and bleed on the paper, you know, and just draw. So you need to do that. Line work is so powerful, and In my opinion, and I learned from Feng Zhu also, in my opinion also, it's very, very important. If you can focus on one thing, I would recommend focusing on drawing. Draw as much as you can. You can never draw enough as a concept artist or as an illustrator, but as a concept artist now. You can see the line work can be the base to build any structure. Out of it, draw. What if you learn line work? What can you do? Basically, you can do everything. You can concept anything with line work alone, with drawing alone. You can draw anything. It's unlimited what you can do. Also, with line work, you can add depth, and the way you add depth is by hatching. Hatching can give you a sense of values or tones. And you can see here, if I remove some of it, it comes back down to lines, small lines. Then when I get them back, you can get a tone, a value. What does values mean? Values mean the range from white to black. White being 1 and black being 9 and in between. You can get the same effect through hatching, through line work alone, without using any colors, anything. And you can see here examples. Those examples are not my work, what I'm showing you here, but the rest was. But I just want to. Same here. And you can see this is a piece of art done in the 16th century. Take a look at how amazing it is, and you only need line work. Yeah, you can see depth, you can see light, you can see forms very well, structure. That's how powerful it is. So with line work alone, you can do basically everything without colors. Yeah. And you can use it also in architecture. That's how powerful it is, as I told you, to show the tones. Another example. And you pass a line between them. You can do this kind of circle. You draw circles in perspective. You can do this thing. You can do. There are tons of practice. You can find it online also. And there are ways to do the line work. You can play with the canvas if you're doing it online or on your PC. You can do it on paper. You can rotate the paper and you can only move the elbow, so you can get straight lines easier. And if you want to move your wrist, then you get a circular kind of lines. And you sometimes, to have great lines, you have to treat it like a samurai. But let's talk about line art when it comes to concept art. In my opinion, for concept art, you don't need the most artistic lines. And the one on the left is kind of expressive where the lines are thick. You don't need that in concept art. In concept art, you need accuracy. Even if the line itself is not beautiful, because why do I say that? In concept art, you need to think of utility. What is this piece going to be used for? It's not gonna be the final product. This is not an illustration. This is a piece where a 3D artist after you comes and turns it into a 3D model. So you don't need the best line work quality. You only need accuracy, and it needs to be science heavy. If it's a prop, for example, it needs to be accurate. The proportions need to be spot on. And if it's a prop, if it's a product design, it needs to be accurate to the millimeter. It needs to be very, very accurate. Concept art hierarchy. So we spoke about the line work and hatching, all part of drawing. That's the base of our hierarchy. Now we'll move to the other parts, anatomy, values, and the rest. But the most important thing, guys, if you want the best return of investment, line work, hatching, focus on drawing as much as you can. Okay, before we move to the rest, I want to take you to a story, but this story is not a magical Pokemon. This is a story from real life. Okay, so now I want you to change the gear. This story is a real story. Why the fundamentals, you might ask? Why the fundamentals? Great question. Why the fundamentals? Let me take you through a story when I was 24 years old, which is around 10 years ago. Okay? I was working back then, I was working as an engineer. I hated my job as an engineer. I hated it. To pick a map, and I would, like the map is on this side, I would go to the other side. Instagram and social media. You're so nice, people are liking, amazing. And at night, I used to hang out with my friend. His name is Abdurrahman Al-Haddi. He's one of my best friends. We hang out, and one day I got a phone call. Ahmed, I need to meet up with you. Like, what the hell, man? What's going on? I come to Karibo, I need to speak up with you. There's something I want to tell you. I went there, there was a coffee shop, and I met this guy. His name is Fahad Al-Khalifa. And he told me, Ahmed, I want to create the first gaming company in Bahrain. And I saw your work. I love your work on Instagram. And let me tell you about the game I want to create and the universe. And while he was speaking, I could start imagining what he was speaking about in my head. And I told him, can you give me a moment? I want to go bring a paper and I want to draw what you're talking about. He said, are you sure? I said, yeah, just give me 1 second. There is a paper in my car. I'm going to grab it and I come back to you. I brought it and I drew the guy he was mentioning in the story. And I got hired on the spot. Okay, he said, yes, I hire you. Our office is over there. I'm going to show you. Come take a look at the office. I mean, what the hell, man? What's going on? I came expecting nothing, and I got hired. He took me to the office, and yeah, they treated me very well, and they gave me a really, really good salary for the time. As a part-time job, I got a really good salary. So I was working as a full-time engineer, and at night I was working as a concept artist. He told me about the salary. I was so excited. Because I was the only concept artist in the team, it was a mobile game. I created more than 70 characters with 10 heroes, environments, assets, props. I learned so much from this experience, guys. I had no idea what concept art was before that experience. This was the first time ever I do concept art. I was only drawing for fun. So I had no idea. I got thrown into it. You can see from 7 a.m. till 2 a.m. I was an engineer. Then from 4 till 8 p.m. I was a concept artist. And at night I was lifting weights. That was my other passion. And at the same time I got married. So I had so many things going on at the same time. Also, I was cutting weight. I wanted to lose weight for, something on bodybuilding called cutting, where you build muscles and you cut to see the muscles you've built. It was crazy. 3 doctors. Imagine at that time, my dream was to be also a bodybuilder. I wanted to be a bodybuilder. So having a back, working back is important to becoming a bodybuilder, because you need to lift heavy weights, you need to do squats, you need to do deadlifts, and you need your back to be able to sit where you don't have pain so you can draw. So I need my back. It's very important. It's not like a knee, where maybe you can sit down and it doesn't hurt. So the doctors told me, you're crazy, you hurt yourself, you're going to live with that pain forever. And I remember I was very, very frustrated because they told me, you're going to live with that pain. And I tried everything. I tried something my friend told me later on. He said, Ahmed, you're going doctor shopping, which means you're jumping from a doctor to a doctor. But at the end, خلاص, you have a disc, you have this injury that never can be recovered, and you'll be in pain forever. I'm sorry. Something inside of me couldn't like accept that an injury never heals. And I feel like the body is very resilient, it's very strong. An injury and you live with it forever? Like, what the hell? Something inside of me couldn't comprehend the diagnosis. But I kind of lived with it. I said, okay, no problem. And I was always in pain. Like when I wake up until I go to bed, I was always in pain. Pain, back pain, crazy back pain. And I remember my friend told me, what if you try something different? What if you try an alternative kind of medicine? Not the normal medicine. What if you try breathing and, like meditation and this kind of stuff? And back then I was a meathead and I thought, man, this doesn't work. I don't think it works. He said, try it out. Try it out. You have nothing to lose. I said, okay, let me try it out. I went there and I tried the meditation, the breathing, the relaxing part. Instead of always being fiery, learning to relax and breathe. And honestly, the pain went away. Wallah, the pain went away. And I remember I went to my friend. Wallah, it went away. Listen to me. I hope what I'm telling you can help you guys in the future. Wallah, because that's my aim, I went to the gym and my friend told me, man, your face looks different. You feel vibrant. You feel alive. What happened to you? I said, man, the breathing thing is working. My pain is gone. And I started reading more about the pain. And I found that the reason for the pain, and it could be categories. It couldn't only be back pain. It could be any other pain. The reason for the pain is to grab your attention and emotions so you don't feel your emotions and you repress them and it comes out as pain. Because when you have so much on your table, your mind thinks, I cannot think about all of those things. This is too much for me to handle. I prefer having one pain that I can focus on so I can forget the rest. And this can come in a lot of forms. It can even, at the extreme, it can become a cancer. It can become back pain, it can become wrist pain, it can become eczema, it can become neck pain, it can become restlessness. But all of that, this is not my talk. This is something I learned from a doctor named Dr. John Sarno. And it's helped shift my thinking about it. And as I told you, the pain went away for a week, but then I got back to my old patterns and same kind of thinking, and the pain came back. I lived with that pain for years. I will tell you later how I found a way around it. Now back to the fundamentals, okay? When I was at Empire, the company I got hired at, there was a Swedish guy named Danny, okay? Danny, he knew a lot about the industry more than me. And I was struggling with the piece back then. It was, sorry for the drawing, I did it in seconds. And I want to thank Saz for helping me with the shading it. I called Danny, I'm struggling. I don't know where to put the perspective lines. How can I solve this issue? He said, I don't know, man. I think, and we were struggling, I think you should put the horizon line over there, maybe above, I don't know. So it was crazy. We were struggling. We had no idea how to solve it. And I remember he was showing me a lot of artists. And none of the artists spoke to me personally until he showed me Feng Zhu. Feng Zhu something inside of me said, yes, yes, this guy, yeah. Show me more. This guy, yeah. And I immediately got hooked when he talked about Feng Shui. I immediately got hooked, and I loved his work, and I wanted to go to his school. This is when I started. At this time, guys, I started taking the fundamentals more seriously. There was a guy, his name is Muhammad. He joined Empire Studios as a narrative. He wanted to be an artist, but he didn't continue. And he had tons of books. So he has the knowledge, but he doesn't have the practice. And he brought his books. I want to thank him also. He gave me his books about perspective, about anatomy, about composition. And I started reading through them and learning them. And I took them very seriously. He said, those books, take them with you and learn. I know you have potential, and I want you to become great. I remember my mentor, Fahad Khalifa, I love him to this day. He was always encouraging me. He told me, one reason why I'm in the industry is because he told me one day, Blizzard would be lucky to have you. Just as a compliment. And this meant so much to me back then. Wow. Guys, I want to tell you about the importance of mentors and people who believe in you. Sometimes you cannot believe in yourself, or you don't believe in yourself, but wallah, if someone in your life believes in you, this can take you so far. And in times where it gets very, very tough, you can remember their words and you can stick to it and you can continue persevering. And I went ahead and I tried applying to Feng Shui. I got accepted, but I couldn't do it, And unfortunately, after a year and 3-4 months after the gaming company opened, it shut down. We released the game, it wasn't a success, and the studio shut down. And it was a very tough time in my life. I felt very shattered. Like the studio closed and my back hurts. And I'm back to zero, but now not to zero. Now I'm back to zero, but with back pain. So I felt very, very low. And I want to tell you, when things feel very low, if you are very honest and you look at the situation in reality, there is always something you can do. There is always something you learn from the experience that can propel you to the next experience. And that thing is the fundamentals. Now I know what I need to learn in order to go to the next level. Although it seems like I went down, but in reality, I have the knowledge that will propel me to go to a higher level than when I started. After Empire and the studio closing, I couldn't draw for 2 months. I couldn't look at a paper. I hated drawing so much. But after that, I got back to it slowly. And the way I got back to it, I always find ways to combine goals. I used to draw a diary for me and my friends. And I know when I show them their drawings, they're going to be very, very happy and excited. So I combined me practicing art with drawing my friends, so they become happy and I practice. So 2 birds at 1 stone. All right. And now I want to take you back to the fundamentals. Okay. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I will get back to the back pain. Okay. I won't forget the back pain. But now let's get back to studying. I intentionally do that. I want to teach you something. I want to take you through a story. So let's get back to studying now. I'm going to go through it fast because I know a lot of you might know that already, and you can get this info online. I want to give you something that you cannot get easily. The fundamentals, we know the fundamentals. As I told you, line work. The difference between concept art and illustration is concept art focuses on problem solving. And the concept art is not the final product. The concept art, you give it to a 3D artist, and 3D artist turns that into a model in-game. So it's not the final product. Unlike the illustration, where the illustration itself is the final product. And usually the illustration, it has a lot of likes and people love it. Woo! But the concept art, usually no one cares. You know what I mean? Cricket sounds, yeah. Nobody cares about an ortho sheet. Nobody cares. But yeah, that's a bit sad. one of the very important fundamentals is anatomy. Yani, that's what I believe. Anatomy. You might say anatomy of what? Humans? No. Anything you can learn. Animals, dinosaurs, horses, anything you can study. The more you know, the better. The more knowledge, the more connections you can make. This advice I'm giving you is not normal advice. I know a lot of people wouldn't agree with that. But that's the advice I tell my students, and that's the advice I applied to myself. And I can show you the results of the advice I applied. And you're free to take whatever you want and leave whatever doesn't suit you. Okay, perspective. Perspective is also very important, guys. And perspective is, the beautiful thing about it is the unlimited things you can do with it. And as a test, I used to, when I first came to Sweden, I used to utilize the time in the train. So before work and after work, I had my sketchbook and I used to draw on the train. And those are the kind of things I used to do, just to practice, move my hand, without any guides, without anything, just to draw. And yeah, so perspective, it's very powerful. The number 3, I would say, is shape and form. It's very important that you know the contour lines of your shapes. You might say, why do I need to know the contour lines? The contour lines are needed because when we want to add shading, here comes the part after it, shading. When you want to add shading, it's very important that you know your forms. And because if you don't, imagine if the circle, you treat it as a flat surface, then when you add shading, it wouldn't work. It will look off. That's why it's important that you know how does this shape look as a 3D, in 3D space, so that when you add your shading, it makes sense. This is what I say is number 5 in terms of fundamentals, shading. Number 6, I would say values. Values, our human eyes are very amazing. We don't need to see colors in order to see shape and depth. With only values, black and white colors, we can see depth. We can see what things are near the camera, what is far away, what is covering behind fog, what is in focus. All of those things can be done through values alone. And that's why I would say it's one of the top fundamentals. Number 8, I think, is values to colors. So you have your line work, you have your values, and you add colors to them. You add flat colors, and you combine the values and colors, and you get the rendered look. This, I would say, comes after the values. Then rendering. So you take the process, line work, color, then you move until the end and you add the rendering parts and you render your character. I would say that's also one of the top important things that can help you sell an idea. And material breakdown is very important. Differentiating between different materials. Is it a glossy surface? Is it a rough surface? 3D artists know this, what I'm talking about, very, very well, maybe more than 2D artists, because they deal with materials, textures all the time. It's very important. What's glossy? How light reacts to the surface? Those things are also very, very important to convey your ideas. Things that are not as important, and sometimes I see some students, they focus on them a lot, is the edges, the brushes you use. Yeah, those are good. We see the artists that we love, they do crazy brush use. And sometimes students, they focus on that too early. I would really recommend that you delay the brushes and the crazy exploration with brushes at later stages. The more you can do with less, the better. The more you can practice with a round brush and you can do crazy stuff with it, the better. So that when you add brushes and when you experiment with edges, then you can put it on top of a strong foundation. Composition is very important, but I didn't know where to put it, honestly, so I will put it next to design. Composition is basically very close to cinematography. And I studied a little bit of cinematography and read some books about it, just so I can grab what I can grab from them that can help us in concept art. Because it's the same, frames. We need to tell a story through a frame. And there are rules. There is a rule of third, there's a golden ratio, how to place your objects. And it's great to learn about the focal length of the camera, what emotions you get from different kind of lenses, and long shots, medium shots, where do you use them, basically extreme close-ups and this kind of things. And as you can see here, different focal lengths can give you different zoom in levels. Now we move to design. Still we are in design. Research and mood boards are very essential, guys, when we want to design. Our heads cannot come up with ideas. We need to study the real world. We need to study events, historical events, and read books and watch movies and do proper research. Watch documentaries about the subject we want to create. This leads me to the design part. As you can see, this is the concept art part. Imagine, I spoke about it very later. This might be the fundamental number 11 or something, or 12. Now I'm speaking about design. If you want to improve a design, improve at things above. This comes later on. Design is where you basically, all the knowledge you learned before, now you put it into practice. And do you need to draw everything from scratch? Absolutely not. You can use 3D to help you and help you build the base. But learning to draw definitely can help you more than you think to convey the idea, because you cannot rely on something. The more you can do with less, the better you'll be. Trust me on that. Here is where you design, basically, and you can do, as I told you, characters, props, environments. This is me wearing different hats and adapting to different styles, different briefs. That's the power of being versatile. That's the power of focusing on the fundamentals, the not very sexy stuff. The stuff that not everybody wants to focus on. They want to do the fun stuff always. But fundamentals is what allows you to understand that basically everything is broken down to research, shapes, understanding, and then problem solving. And you can wear different hats. You can jump from Pokemon to League of Legends, to a football game, to a sci-fi, to, there's power, there's beauty in that. And how can I improve my design skills? Your designs are only as good as your experience in life. That's why the older the designers, usually they have more experience, they traveled more, they read more, they have more in their experience that can lead to better concepts. Traveling, some of the books I love are DK books. They are amazing. They are great for concept artists. To improve your visual library, you can read novels, movies, games. This can all help enrich. Art books, some of the classics, Sid Mead, Scott Robertson, and Ron Cobb. Some of them I didn't honestly go through, but those two I have them. I've gone through them. But this one I didn't, but I heard some very good things about it. And the YouTube channels is one of my best YouTube channels is FZD, Feng Zhu, School of Design. The last thing, thank you, Demonic. I appreciate it. The last thing I want to talk about in terms of fundamentals is the style. Do we need to focus on one style or not? A lot of people will tell you focus on one style. That's not my school of thought. I just want to tell you, Nikita, I might need 20 more minutes, then we can move to Q&A.
Yeah, it's totally cool. Everyone seems to be enjoying it, so that's great.
Awesome. Thank you. Glad to hear. Do we need to choose one style? No, we don't. Everybody says you need to be specific, you need to decide. It's up to you. For me personally, I didn't want to follow the industry trends. I wanted to follow a little bit what's in my heart also. I wanted to experiment with a lot of styles, and I did that. And I'm going to show you the results of it. You don't have to follow what I'm saying, but if you resonate with what I'm saying, then go ahead and do it. Let's get back to the story, guys. Okay, now let's now back to the story. Let me take you back to when I was 25 now. Okay, let's continue. At this time, you can see at this part, we need one more of this for 3D art. Yes. At this time of my life, I was, you can see the parameter of pain. It was very huge here. And the motivation and dedication was lower. And at this time, I thought, yeah, okay, maybe concept art is not my main goal. I want to become a bodybuilder now again. Although I was in back pain, tremendous back pain, I was still lifting very heavy 3-4 hours. And I used to go back to my friends, and they used to help me with, massaging my pain. I was at a very high body weight. I reached 102 kilos at that time. It's the heaviest I've ever been. And you might say, why are you drawing? Why are you drawing while you are laying down? The reason for that is this is the only way where I can draw with the least amount of pain. I was still feeling pain. Yes, 102 kgs, yes. I was still feeling pain, but this is the only way the pain would be at the minimum. I didn't take the pain as a way to not draw. I still wanted to draw, but I didn't take it as a way to say, no, I'm not going to draw. I was still persevering. Something happened at that time. I met a friend. I know him from very early on, but I kind of, he was reintroduced in my life again. And he was a filmmaker, so he took me into filmmaking more. He invited me to his office, so I drew a drawing on his wall. He got me into teaching, and I got some cash out of it, so I needed the money. I was teaching students at back home, Bahrain. And I started to do storyboarding. And immediately the storyboarding that I was doing, everybody heard about it. Who did that? This is very good quality. Because usually the storyboards were done by people who were not artists back then. The quality was very bad. And I used to, us artists, we take everything, I'm going to do the best at this. So I was pushing it more than needed. And that led to people talking about it. Who is doing that kind of art? And yeah, I got also something called, I don't know what to call it in English, but where you move from one government sector to another government sector. And so I got moved from engineering to TV. I was working in TV as an artist now. So I was so happy. But that thing doesn't last forever. It lasts only for 6 months. And I was doing everything in my willpower to make that 6 months be forever. I didn't want to go back to engineering. I wanted to do anything related to arts. Anything. And while I was working at TV, they wanted us to do a kids show. A kids show for cartoon kids show. And we did the pitch. And I remember we did a pilot for 15 seconds and as an animation. We pitched it to the team, to the board. And I told them how much it will cost. But I remember my friend, he told me 3-4 days later, Ahmed, I'm very sorry, but they think the amount is too huge and they cannot do it. And I'm like, yeah, all right, yeah, I'm used to it. Yeah, I get excited, and then it's okay, no problem. I remember I was scrolling through social media, and I saw another guy that I call him a rival, okay? And I was looking at my phone, and I saw him going to France and studying at one of the biggest schools over there. And I was like, what the hell, man? This guy, his name is Yusuf. Yusuf is so serious, and I'm here playing around. And I took it very seriously and said, I'm going to change my life, and I'm going to go study concept art today. I'm going to take a huge risk. I don't care. I'm going to leave everything, and I'm going to take, what do you call it? Alone, whatever it takes, I'm going to go study concept art. I looked for universities. I found Teesside University in the UK. And I applied there. It was very hard for me to get the approval. I basically told the TV that the other entity are accepting me going. And I told the engineering part, the TV are accepting. So I told everybody that the other part was accepting and nobody was accepting. I made it up. Because I wanted to go no matter what, man. I cannot let that not happen. That was not an option for me. I made it happen in a crazy way. I'm sorry, everybody. I'm sorry if anybody from there hears that. But that's the truth. I went there, I reached the university, and I was very, very amazing, Alex. I'm glad to hear it. It's an amazing school. I was very scared when I went there, nervous. Well, I said, damn. I back home they told me I was good, but now people are from all over the world. I'm going to be exposed. I know that I'm not that good. And I was very nervous, honestly. And I got something growing here near my lats muscles here. Something was like getting bigger because of the stress. We had 2 weeks, and the mentor, David Paget, his name is David Paget. I love this guy. He told us, you have 2 weeks, and I need to see through the 2 weeks your levels. So I want you to do your best, because from that 2 weeks, I'm going to know where to place you in terms of, should I go hard on you? Should I go easy on you? I want to know your levels, basically. And the first sacrifice I made was lifting weights. I was lifting 3-4 hours a day. I made it to 1 hour. Decrease the volume in a crazy way. That's the kind of sacrifices we need. Whenever our campus changes, we need to adapt everything in our life to that goal. I remember at the day after 2 weeks, I was waiting. Okay, I was waiting for David Paget's comments, guys. Like the moment of truth. Am I good or not? And when he arrived to my table, he told me, Ahmed, what are you doing here? I told him, what do you mean? He told me, what are you doing here? I said, yeah, I'm studying concept art. He said, your level is very good. Very good. I said, oh, very good? Yeah, he said, you're very good. He said, would you allow me to go extra hard on you? I said, please, man. That's the reason I came here. I want you to be extra hard on me. He said, okay. He said, keep it up. I really love your work, and I'm gonna treat you differently. I said, I appreciate it. And I remember maybe a week later, they showed us one of the top students who came to the school. And they showed us a guy from Germany. His work is super amazing. And Dave was saying the best about this guy. And this ignited the fire again in me. I wanted for them to mention Bahrain next year. So I worked extremely hard for them to mention my name and my country. I don't know if they did, but I worked extremely hard. I don't care about the results. I care about what can keep me going, you know? I don't care if it happened or not. What I care about is a story that can help me to give everything, every single ounce of my soul. And I used to work like a maniac while I was studying. I stopped at sometimes I stopped eating carbs, zero carbs, carbohydrates. I used to eat only fats and drink energy drinks because I didn't want to spike in energy. I wanted a consistent flow of this is not the best way to do it. Okay. But I took it very seriously. I remember my friends at class, they used to at some time they didn't even know my name. They told me, can we know your name? I said, yeah, my name is Ahmed. Because this lady on the left, she told me, I'm going to tell you what we call you. We call you the guy with mad skills. We don't even know your name. We just call you the guy with mad skills. And because I was overworking, sometimes 18, 19, 20 hours a day, my wife took photos of me holding the pen while sleeping. Allah, I was sleeping while working. And yeah, crazy times. The reason I'm telling you that is I want you to know the amount of work it takes. The first time I got pro feedback. Okay, I think I'm going to skip that. I'm going to skip that. Guys, I did tons of studies and I can show you some of them, okay? I did tons of these sketchbooks. I need to, sorry, Wallah, I need to jump through some of the material because I have so much. I can speak about the material for 7 hours, but I need to push through because I want to give you the best in the shortest amount of time. Thank you so much. So this is one of the sketchbooks, guys, about dinosaurs. I did one about, I can show you general sketches also. Okay. As you can see, I love to practice everything. Fabrics, horses, trees, rocks, guns. You can see like boom, 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 boom from one subject to another. And I called that when I posted on social media, I posted it years after I did it. I called it what they don't see. And for a reason, yani, this is the kind of stuff that I don't do it to show it to people. I do it because it's the amount of work that needs to be done as a base for you to produce the work. Okay? Spaceships, buildings, there are so much. I also do this event yearly where we do a marathon and we gather around with artists all over the world. And this is something I love to do because me and my friend, we gather money and we give money to the top artists, something like a giving back to the community. And we draw together for 2 weeks, something similar to Inktober, but my own version. And we draw. Every day we do a subject for 14 days straight. So every page you see here is 6 hours worth of work. And some of my friends here are part of that. They joined. Hands, feet, animals, dinosaurs, horses, cars, airplanes, Pokemons. This day, guys, we did 150 Pokemons in 15 hours. Crazy day. Okay, GANs. Then we did a small series for anatomy also. Faces, torsos, back muscles, arms, everything. I also did at work, when I was at Paradox, I did tons of these. I did a lot of thumbnail studies also. Thumbnails. Okay, now I want to show you the results. Okay, you might ask, it's a good question also to ask. If I study fundamentals, how much can I improve? Let me show you the difference 1 year and a half between before fundamentals and after fundamentals. So this on the left was me before going to FZD. This was my level back then. Not FZD, sorry, to T-side. You can see in my head FZD, man. And this is on the left. After doing my studies, after putting, maybe, I know the difference in time is maybe 1 year and a half between them. But in terms of hours, there might have been 9,000 hours of difference. 9,000 hours between those two, the one on the right and the one on the left. 9,000 hours of practice. So practice fundamentals and studying. At least 6,000 to 9,000 hours of practice between the images. And I can show you now to a bigger time frame. 15 years, sorry. These were some of my drawings that I could find when I was 13, 14 years old. Forgive me for the quality, that's what I could find. And I can show you 15 years later. When I was 28, 29. Yeah, this is mostly the work I did when I arrived to Sweden. The quality for the images, man, I took screenshots from Instagram, so forgive me. Some of the quality is very bad. The beauty part about learning the fundamentals is a lot of things, even if they can seem intimidating, you can break them down and you can tackle it in a smart workflow. The beautiful part about learning the fundamentals is this. I think this image, I hope that it can show you what you can do once you learn the fundamentals and how freeing it can be to draw the face in different directions. And I feel like this piece is a way for me to sell you guys the idea of learning the fundamentals. Hopefully, if you learn it without the least amount of shortcuts, with the least, you can basically do whatever you want. A lot of people, they teach shortcuts. For me, anybody knows Naruto? You guys know Naruto? Naruto! Do you know Rock Lee? My dog is named after Kiba. Amazing. Do you know Rock Lee? I love to think that my way is Rock Lee's way. Yeah, it's not the most glamorous, not the most beautiful, but it can take you, hopefully, wherever you want to go. I want to show you very quickly. Damn, man. I want to show you very, very quickly some of the work I did for some clients, and then we can conclude because there's no time to go through everything. Going through the versatile route is a decision I took 15 years ago. I was with my dad at my house back home in Bahrain. And I remember telling my dad, I want to learn to draw everything. I told him. And that's what I did for the past 15 years. I wasn't focusing. There were periods where I focused. I can show you example below. But mostly I was not. I was trying to observe as much as I can. And this allowed me to work with the clients I showed you. That's why, does it make sense? Nike, historical games, Intel, product design, does it make sense? My portfolio is all over the place because of the decisions I took. This allowed me to work with, as I told you, Adidas, Intel. I work with product design storyboards with some companies. I work with some animation shows that are similar to Disney style. We did that. Adapting, different hats. Even a kid's show that is about planets. Imagine you have a planet and you want to create an animation show out of it. This is Mars. This is the Earth. The sun. Okay, I know I'm rushing through these, but I need to. This is another ad that I did for manga production, Saudi Arabia history. And you can see a totally different style also. This is also another animation show where I did the heroes with some characters posing. Okay. kids TV show. You can see totally different vibe. Very, very different. This is a game that I worked on, a chibi game for a mobile game. Okay. A focused study. Let me show you a time where I intentionally focused. I wanted to focus. I wanted to improve the style of a Blizzard, and I'm going to show you the results of it. This was done before me joining think tank and wanting to learn 3D. So I took some time to study Blizzard and Riot style. I took a piece of a painting and I studied it from line work till rendering. I did lots of these. Then I made it a bit harder, you know. At the beginning, I made it easy, and then I increased the difficulty of it moving forward. You know, I found a reference from an artist I admire, and I rotated the piece. So the reference is on the left, my piece is on the right. I didn't copy it as it is, I rotated it. So I make it harder. This is a way to make studies, but learn more from them, in my opinion. Instead of just copying it, change the pose and then study it. That way you can practice 3-4 things at the same time. The results of that, years later, I went and I studied, as I told you, 3D. And because I studied a lot of that style, amazing, amazing. I'm really glad to hear. This is the work I did for term 1. This is what I did for term 2. All you can see in the same style that I showed you, that I studied before joining. This one I couldn't finish. It's for the 3rd term. This one was very, very hard to do. Very, very hard to make it clean, and it was the toughest. And this one is for my mentorship program with Bona. This is the last one, still work in progress. There is so much work I can show you from my work, but I'm going to skip all of that. I'm going to go to the conclusion now, because I have so much work. I cannot go through it all. Can zoom out. Here's environments. Forgive me, everybody, but I need to rush through it. Okay. Now, let's go to the final part of our talk. Working. Oh my God, thank you so much, Malo. I appreciate it. I appreciate it so much. Thank you so much. Let me show you the results, okay? Let me tell you guys, wallah. I appreciate you are so kind. A lot of who here would dream of working with a studio? Please say me or say anything. Dream, your ultimate dream. Okay. All right. So a lot of you, okay, a lot of you are dreaming of working with a studio. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, me too. I would love to work with big studios until today. So that's a very, very. I applaud you. Let me tell you the result of following that and that only. Let me tell you the result that happened to me and to some artists I know. Okay. You do uni work, you do client work, you do studio work. It's so beautiful, right? It's amazing. You're living the dream. The problem with that, my people, is what happens is you start very enthusiastic, and then slowly you become this yellow guy. You lose yourself slowly. If you only do it for other people, for studios, it can lead to you losing yourself. Trust, يعني, let me explain. Okay? Everybody is happy except you. You make everybody happy. The clients are happy. You make their projects come alive. But then you feel like, is that all it is? Let me say, working with the studios is amazing. It's beautiful. I'm here to tell you, it's amazing. It's beautiful. You learn so much. You saw the work I showed you. Some of that I could, some of that I couldn't. But I have so much of work that I did for studios, and I'm very proud of it. I learned so much. But the problem is if you only do that, then art, the thing you love, the spark, it can become a job. And you can lose the initial spark. You become a machine. You become like this guy. Remember this guy, wallah, I did it for a purpose. You don't want to lose yourself, wallah. In the midst of all the chaos, you still want an outlet for your true self. And here is my suggestion, okay? Please continue pursuing your goals. Please continue pursuing the biggest studios. I'm here not to tell you not to do that. I encourage that. I still encourage myself to do that. But don't let that be your ultimate goal, like the ultimate. Because if it's the ultimate, then when you reach it, you will see, well, that's it. I don't want you to feel that's it. I want you to reach that, but it's only a milestone. I want you to have more goals. And right now, the time we live in is a great time for us to wake up with everything going on, with the crazy things happening in Palestine, in Gaza. May God have mercy on them. With the economy going down, with AI taking over, with the crazy stuff, with people giving no juniors any chance. Like only seniors, no juniors, you get out. A junior, yeah, okay, if you have 5 years of experience. What the hell? And the dream companies, we saw it in 2024, right? When they laid off 1,000 people, 1,500 people, 2,000 people. Imagine if you sacrifice your whole life for a company and then they just kick you out, get out. It's a bit sad, right? That's what I don't want you to feel. It's great if you do that, but it's not the only thing that gives you validation. It's not the company that gives you validation, guys. Please, please. I'm speaking to your... Okay? And usually in times of hardship, people go crazy, right? People sometimes they think so much about, I wish it was similar to before. I wish it was similar to before AI. And some people get very worried about the future. And some people that we don't want to become, those people who become enthusiasts about everything new, like crypto enthusiasts, cannabis enthusiasts, AI enthusiasts. Please, guys, don't be like those people. I know none of you are like that, but those people get under my nerves, you know? We want to be somewhere in between, where we deal with what we have. We don't wish for things to be different, but we deal with the reality as it is. As it is. We might think we have better knowledge than God. Like, why is it like that? It is like that. Accept it, yani. Work with it. Accept and work. That's the only way you can change it to the best. So focus on the present moment. Do whatever you can with what you have. That's my advice to myself and to everybody. Now, I want to take you back to the story that we started with. Okay? Remember when Feng Zhu told me, my peeps, are you here? Come on, come on. Please focus with me. Come on. Focus with me. Come on. Remember when we started with Feng Zhu? Remember, right? When he told me, I will tell you once you learn the fundamentals. Now, let's imagine we learned the fundamentals, right? Now we want to learn from Feng Zhu. What's next? Okay. The next advice he told me is the same advice I told you just now. Remember why you started. Go back to the roots. Go back to the beginning. Where you started. Remember where you started. This is where the fire started. Please don't lose your fire. Please. 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 Don't let this industry and the rejections play with yourself, with who you are, with your self-worth. They give you a rejection that doesn't mean nothing. It means you can continue improving, but that doesn't mean you're not a great artist. Remember why you were into this in the beginning. Look back at the early days. Sonic, Maple Story, Tarzan, Pokemon. Look at the mirror. Look at your younger self. What did you love? What brought you true joy? Not for other people, but for you also. Don't lose that. Even while you're working on your dreams, keep some time for it during the weekend or after your studies. Do something that you truly love, truly love. There is something to say about those threads of joy. If you follow them, sometimes they lead to great things that are unexpected. Unlike when you use only your head, when you want to muscle your way through it, it's not like when something that speaks to you from the inside. And don't think with AI that your art, no. I want to tell you about something Imam Ali said. You presume you are a small entity, but within you is unfolded the entire universe. Yani you are so much bigger than you think. All of you. You are not just an employee, just someone you are much bigger than that. Maybe inside of you is an IP bigger than your dream IP. Who knows, man? Who knows? How do you know? I'm here to challenge that, I'm here to challenge that small thinking, that compact thinking. I want to expand it more. There is a whole universe inside of you if you look deep down. This thinking led me to starting my own hobby projects with my friend Fahad Majid. Fahad Khalifa, my mentor from 10 years ago, he's working with us as a game director, and some of my friends here. Those are some work done by great people at our studio. This is a work of... So those are the fun projects that we want to tell the world. It's not something we do for clients. This is our own ideas that we want to share. Jazz and Blue Universe. The comics. The above is work. This one on the left is Yuki's work, Muhammad. This one is Osama and mine. Those are a mix of a lot of artists. If I mention one, I'm going to forget. But it's a collaboration. The stories that we want to tell. And doing these kind of things is too much. It's character design. It's world building. It's storytelling. It's composition. Doing the models in Blender in 3D. You need a lot of things. So that's why I was focusing on the fundamentals at the beginning. Before your why, you need to learn the how. Then you can jump to the why and give back. Work done by our amazing team. Work of Muhammad, work of Ali from Iraq. Work from Ali, Muhammad. Work from Mustafa from Saudi Arabia. Work from Anud. She did the weapons. Work from Mustafa. He did the concepts. This is my work from university. This is beautiful. This is beautiful. Take a look at this animation, huh? Take a look at this animation. How can I improve more with storytelling skills? This is a great question. I'm going to tell you now. Storytelling is, I will tell you. Raihana, I don't know, man. I don't have it now. Okay, but look, take a look. This is beautiful work done by Osama. Ajmal min al-Shams. So beautiful, man. Okay. Now, industry or solo? Okay. You might ask, Ahmed, what do you recommend? As I told you, whatever you like, whatever you prefer, but don't lose the spark inside. And there are always benefits to each one, the industry side and the solo side. And there are successful games in both sides. In the industry side, and the people who worked on both, as you know, Trent and I forgot the name, the guy who made Ori, they both are huge success, and they both worked at Blizzard, and then they made their own indie studios, and they are very successful. And some indie developers like Undertale, Stardew Valley, you can succeed at any route you take. My personal, what I love is the one in the middle. Learn from the industry if you can, gain the experience, but always work on your passion projects. Never lose the spark. I know a lot of people, guys, who are 34, 36, 39. They lost the spark. There's no, you know, their eyes are dead. There's no in their eye, you know, there's no spark. The spark is gone. They are, let's just go to work, make money. That's what I don't want for all of you. I want the kid to be alive. Let's recap. Zombies. Let's recap, everybody. Let's start the journey. The concept art journey. Okay, let's recap the whole thing now. We start with the concept art journey. This is mostly my journey, but I hope it can resonate with you. Start as a beginner. You go to Professor Oak. He gives you a Pokemon, and you start with line work. Sketches, faces, eyes. There is always room to quit. Temptation always calls. It's not easy to stick with that. It's not easy. It's not easy to stick. Doing the right thing is not easy. Your brain wants to run away. And you might know when you want to do something important, maybe I need to wash the dishes. Maybe I need to go to the salon. Maybe I need to call my friend. Maybe I need, things come up for you not to do what you need to do. And I want you to be aware of your mind and understand the tricks that the mind does. Once you understand, you can detach and you can let the mind do whatever it wants, the crazy stuff, and you can decide consciously to do whatever you want. You continue improving, but there is always room in every level to go to the comfort zone land, where the goodies are, where at the beginning it's easy, but in the long term it gets hard. Unlike the right thing, at the beginning it's hard, but in the long term it gets easy, right? The right thing to do is hard at the moment, but it gets easier. The bad thing to do usually is very easy, very inviting. At the beginning, it gets worse with time. So don't let it being hard means it's wrong. No, usually when it's hard, go more, Okay. And you continue learning, maybe add colors now. You think you at that time maybe you're gonna do the next Naruto. For me, at least, I think I'm gonna be the next biggest mangaka. And I did a chapter and I quit, I think. Then I started experimenting with with just colors without any understanding of color theory. And at this level, your friends think you are the best, you are the top, and you believe them. Maybe, oh yeah, maybe I'm really good, until what I call the awareness phase. Okay, I appreciate it. Okay, and so this is the awareness phase. Okay, and a lot of people quit here. Maybe you were the best at your school, at your class, but then you go back to the bigger world and you understand, oh my God, I'm not as good as I thought. And a lot of people, they quit at that stage. Well, I call it the conscious incompetent. You're incompetent, but you're conscious now. You know that you don't know. And some people, they say, art, it's too hard. It's too hard. It's not for me. Let me go to another route. But if you persevere, if you continue, as I told you, if you learn the fundamentals, perspective, anatomy, line work, composition, values, colors, the one we spoke about at the beginning, if you stay at it, even though sometimes it might feel very hard, very lonely, very dark, but if you stick to it, there is always, they say as much as the hardship, as much as the triumph, the harder, the more triumph. You need to put, for me, at least I do it, but hopefully it can help you. You need another narrative, like, man, this is hard, but man, it's going to be a great story, right, to tell. Like if I can overcome that, I'm sure I can help a lot of people. Yeah, there were times where I questioned, like, this is so hard, so hard. I don't think I can handle it. It's beyond. But what kept me going is what I'm doing now. Is hopefully what I'm doing can help other people. I knew it back then. I saw it in my head. Back then, when it was so hard and everything was against me at the time. No doors were opening. It was the opposite. They were closing. They were shutting down. They were saying, "You're crazy. What are you doing? Are you sure you're okay? Are you sure you're okay?" Everybody's afraid about me. It was the opposite of what I wanted. But I had to persevere through that for years. Nothing, no results. Just putting seeds and nurturing, but nothing, not a single fruit. Nothing. I'm so tired, but there's no fruits to show that it's going to work. But there's an internal belief. So I want to do that, no matter what. And if you continue going, then hopefully one day you can rebuild your broken self. And hopefully you can give back to people. You can give back. You will see your fruits. And you can give back. You understand the artist's pain because you've been there. You are not like, you've been there. You understand their pain exactly. And if life treats you sometimes hard, maybe some people, they get it easier. Trust me, from an experience, maybe God wants to prepare you more than them. He delays it because it's going to be prettier than all of them. So don't wish anybody any bad. Love that they're getting it faster. It's okay. It's okay. I'm on my own timeline. I'm not here to compete with anyone. What if I compete with them and God has something 10 times more for me? That's crazy, right? I'm crying for them. Why should I even care? Let them have whatever they want. I hope they enjoy it. It's my timeline. It's my journey. It's a different journey. Your journey is different. Don't compare it to your brother, your sister, your friend. Hopefully, if you continue going, hopefully, all of us one day, we can become legends. Hopefully. Why not? You can create your own IP, maybe. Your school. Maybe you can have a huge impact on the community. And when it gets hard for people, maybe they remember your name. And just by remembering your name, they get a boost. I want to conclude. I saw lately in YouTube, I saw a lot of videos that say, and they are very clickbaity and they have tons of views. So I thought I would end with that. The clickbaity. What I know at 35, that I would tell my 20 years old self. Okay? Who here is between 15 and 25 years old? 22. Tell me your age, better even. Tell me your age. 13, 20. Wow, nice. Amazing. All right. Thank you, everybody. Let me tell you some of the lessons I learned personally. Hopefully it can help all of you. Guys, my peeps, God takes care of the big picture. Even though you can get afraid, panic, if you think about it for a second, the planets, they go through an orbit and they do not collide, nothing happens. Things are okay, they work. The universe works. We don't need to panic, overthink the past, overthink the future. The older you get, the more you go through, the more you know that whatever you go through, you can get out of it. And when you look back at it, you understand why you went through it. And you can even thank God for the hard times you went through because they made you who you are. And by that, you can help other people. You can make other people's life easier because you went through hell. Something I learned is no matter how hard it is, you can always learn from it and it will make sense one day. Even though it doesn't at the moment, give it time. Give it time. I can give you an example, okay? Let me give you an example. When I was 33, it was a hard time in the industry. It was a time when AI art was coming. Okay? It was a time, guys, when AI art was at the peak. And the image I had in my head, maybe similar to a lot of you, that the AI was kind of the tech people standing on the graves of the greats, of the people who died and people who are alive. They take their art, they train their models, and then they pee on their graves. Sorry for the term, Allah. They treat them so bad that that's the only imagination I can think of. So bad, and then they make money by getting them out of a job. Oh, but by the way, you cannot use copyright music in YouTube. That's the world we live in. You cannot use copyright music in YouTube, even though you're right. It's not my music, it's Rihanna's music. You cannot do that. But you can steal all the artists' work, who are dead and who are alive. Studio Ghibli, lately, we saw the trend. And you can buy $5, you pay us $5, and you get, I know it sounds crazy, right? That's the time we live in. So that was the beginning of the crazy AI boom. And at the time also, my wife was getting sick. That was 2 years ago. And I remember I was sitting in a room, in front of me, a doctor. And I was sitting with my wife in a room, and he was looking at the papers. and he was telling us, would you like to have babies, or would you like your wife to live until 95? I was like, what do you mean? He said that your wife has cancer in her ovarian. And you either want to have kids, this will increase the risk, or we remove the ovarian, the ovary, I think it's the name, and you don't have kids, but your wife lives until 95. My wife, she didn't want to take the decision. She looked at me and I said, hey, we make the surgery now. What are you talking about? If there is a risk 1%, we do it now. We took a decision and we went through that. This time was very, very tough. And let me tell you the grace of God after a hard time. If you just accept, if you don't say, why me, and get angry, if you just accept and you understand the bigger picture, there is something so beautiful coming immediately after. And I'm going to tell you what. I have a lot of students that I mentor. And they were telling me, they were back then 22, similar to a lot of your ages, 22, 23. They told me, Ustad Ahmed, our life ended before it started. Our life ended before it started. AI took over the career. We cannot even start a career. I wanted to comfort them. I didn't know how. Wallah, I didn't know how to comfort them. What do I tell them? From the inside, I'm kind of afraid. How can I make them feel good? I told them, guys, don't panic. It's okay. It's okay. Do you know what happened? The weirdest thing ever happened. I wanted to learn 3D. I told my wife, yeah, new year, new me. I'm becoming 33 soon. I want to study 3D now. Because I think AI is taking over 2D, so let me study 3D. Hopefully it can stay for 2-3 years until AI takes that also. That was my thinking back then. Yani. Now I don't think like that. But I went to Vertex school. I went and I applied and I took the meeting and it went very well. My friend Nico at work, he heard that I wanted to go to Vertex. He got super mad. Ahmed, why did you go to Vertex? I said, Nico, what's wrong with you? He said, why don't you ask me? I said, okay, sorry. He said, go to think tank. I told him, Nico, I already paid. He said, go now, cancel. Okay. I went, I canceled, and then I spoke to think tank. I had no money. All the money was paid for the surgery. And I also, my family helped with some money, so I'm in debt. But I wanted to study, and I know that it's going to work out. How? I don't know, but it's going to work out. My brother, younger brother, Abdullah, he has a business, and he said, I'm going to help Ahmed. He heard from my mom that I wanted to study, and he gave me 3,000 euros, $3,000. I said, okay. He said, take it, bro, and never think about it. I took a lot of money from you when you were young. Now it's my time to give back. He bought a lot of things on my back. He said, now it's my time to give back, man. I said, yeah, all right. I'll tell you what happened, okay? I got an email from Think Tank CEO, okay? I got an email from Think Tank CEO. He said, business in Bahrain. I said, what the hell, man? He said, guys, I want you to imagine, huh? Imagine the possibility of this happening is like 0.000. Wallah. Yani me, I already went to another school. My friend told me to cancel. I canceled. And when I joined Think Tank, I got an email from the CEO of Think Tank. He said, I want to do a business in Bahrain. We're at the final stages. We're already doing a deal with Tamkeen, which is an entity that helps the students with the government. And we want to find the students. We don't know how to find them. I said, okay, I have the students. I do a live session with them every week for 4 years. A lot of people told me, you're crazy, you're teaching people for free. Why are you doing that? But I did it because in my heart I wanted to do it, and I knew it's the right thing. And then he said, we need students, and we'll pay you free for every student you bring. I said, okay, that's weird. Okay, so let me tell you, I went to think tank. I paid for the first semester. Semester 2, 3, 4 was paid by think tank, and I got commission for every student I brought. So I made money in think tank. That's the crazy part. I came from a very bad earlier year with my wife and everything, but then the grace I told you about. Crazy. I'm telling you because I want you to believe that it can happen. It can happen if you open. Okay? And I got, I wanted a mentor from Blizzard. I wrote to 40 people in the past 5 years. Nobody replied to me, not even a reply. Yani tell me at least I suck, not a reply. 40 people, huh? And then when I was in think tank, I found the best mentor ever, Gabriel Bona. And now I understand why I waited so long, because God wanted the best one for me. Yani this guy, yani, is very rare to find. It's very rare to find people like him. And I'm glad the 40 people didn't reply to me. I'm glad. Now I understand. I can tell you 5 years later, I understand why this happened. I'm going to tell you about the butterfly effect. Number 2, butterfly effect. When I was a kid, I was drawing with, the post-it notes, the one you draw in, the yellow. I used to have a lot of these. I used to do animation with them. Animation when I was 14 years old. And I used to have them. I used to draw Super Smash attacking each other, like people fighting, Marth versus Roy, a guy running, and Pikachu. It was kind of cute, And I had no idea. I told you I'm a concept artist. I'm not an animator. I had no idea that 20 years later, God was having for me, because I also work in freelance. I work as an art director for some animation shows. And in 1 month, the revenue was closer to the revenue made in 1 month by animation, which is not my main thing. It's just something, okay, Director Ahmed, you can, yeah, I think I can. In 1 month, we made more than 30 salaries by working in 1 month. It's not all in my pocket. Of course, it's on the studio, on the people working. But I want to tell you that those things that happens very weirdly, like you cannot plan them. There's no way you can plan them. But the result of the butterfly effect, the result of the yellow post-it note, 20 years later, art director on animation, and there is some money for you and for some people. That's the stuff that you cannot plan. Okay, so don't overplan. Let it also plan, but don't overdo it. Let it flow in some areas also. You don't need permission or money to start. That's number 3. I was drawing. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. I was drawing with a pen and paper. I was drawing with a stupid $20 pad. Then I was drawing with a bigger pad. Now I'm drawing with a Wacom. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't mean that the Wacom will produce better work. You can do so much with so little. That's my main lesson, wallah. So much with so little, and you do not need permission or money to start. If you have an internet connection and you can get in Discord, exactly, you can start today with what you have. Always give back, please. Guys, if you make it, if you look back, see who's struggling and help them. Help anybody in need. Remember when you were in their shoes. Support artists more than ever now. Even the AI, support artists if you can. I want to mention some of my mentees. I cannot call them, this girl is not my mentee. She's a friend, I would consider her a friend, but she did something that I'm so grateful for. And I told her, this is the best gift I have ever gotten in my life. She made a game about the character I showed you. And she worked on it for 2 years and she didn't tell me. And I knew about it months ago. I tell you, if out of you, if one person gets something out of this, man, what she did is so huge to me, and I want to show the whole world. Like, she did a whole game. She did a game on her own, programmed it, did the art, the animation, the game design. And I'm very, very, very proud of her. Now she's studying also in Morocco. I want to also mention Adam. Adam wanted to improve in values. And I gave him some lessons, and he's applying them to the T. He's 16 years old, this guy? 16 years old, guys. And I told him to take this and to study the wood for 1 week, then do the thing on the shapes, and put the texture on top. Then study rocks for week 2 and put it on the same shapes with keep in mind the roughness, everything. Then study iron and do the same thing. Then study fabric, then study gold, then study, and that's the way you learn values and textures all at once. If you want to learn rendering, black and white, values, this is the way to learn it. And I have also some people that I cannot share their work. The last thing I want to end with, guys, is die empty. Don't leave so much inside of you. Put it out. Do it. And I want to end with this quote that Sue loved and she shared, and I love it so much. What if your dream was the most important dream ever? That's a food for thought. I want you to take it with you. What if your dream was the most important dream ever? And this is the thing to recap everything we went through. It starts with a spark with my mom. Then we go drawing, anatomy, values, design. We level up. And you can consider, by the way, the Pokemon is your skills, is your artistic skills. The Pokemon is your artistic skills. The more you train your Pokemon, the stronger it becomes. The more it knows Fire Blast, it knows new attacks now. It knows how to fly. The more you train your skills, the stronger the Pokemon becomes. And this is the period where it's the how. Once you learn the how, you go back to why, and you go back to passion and spark and giving back an impact. That's it.